Beneath the red Louisiana mud, a kingdom is rising. A $500 million empire built not by humans, but by tiny walking creatures. Each bright red crawfish with razor-sharp claws scuttles across cracked, dry earth, its beady black eyes reflecting the cold gaze of a conqueror. They don't swim, they walk, trekking for miles across rice paddies, swamps, and canals to expand their territory. From an invasive species once considered an ecological disaster, they've become a $500 million a year lifeline, feeding thousands of families along the bayou. But behind those steaming plates of crimson crustaceans lies a gnawing question. Have we truly tamed nature? Or are we simply celebrating in the midst of an invasion we ourselves created? Let's rewind to the 1920s, when humans first believed they could domesticate a monster. The red swamp crawfish, or Procambarus clarkii by its dry scientific name, originated in the wild swamps of the Mississippi River Basin and the Gulf Coast, the southern United States and northeastern Mexico, where fresh water mingled with the ocean's salt, forging a harsh environment that bred fierce survivors. Initially, they were just a local species, affectionately called mudbugs by Louisiana fishermen, their shells a glossy red like dried blood in the sun. But then humans intervened, with good intentions mixed with ambition. In 1916, scientists and farmers in California, hoping to turn them into a cheap protein source for rice paddies, imported breeding stock from Louisiana and released them into irrigation canals. Just a few years later, floods in Louisiana and Texas, the wrath of the Mississippi River, North America's largest artery, freed them from experimental farms. They spilled into rivers, ponds, and canals, scuttling through mud, digging deep burrows under levees, and spreading like an unstoppable army. By the 1960s, they had crossed borders, imported to Europe. Spain dreamed of a new delicacy. Japan and China saw economic opportunity, only to witness disaster. Now they are found on every continent except Australia and Antarctica. From Lake Naivasha in Kenya to the wheat fields of Madrid, a human legacy. From aquarium pets, from fishing bait in a bucket, from food in aquaculture farms, they have become global invaders. The U.S. Geological Survey, USGS, doesn't hesitate to call them a keystone species, dominating the energy flow in the food web. A small crawfish, yet more aggressive than all its relatives, with a reproductive capacity like a tireless war machine. 3 times a year, 500 eggs each time, totaling 1,500 new generations from a single female, multiplying hundreds of times in just a few months. They are omnivores, carnivores, and herbivores, feasting on lush aquatic plants, hidden insects, slow snails, fragile fish eggs, weak fish fry, and even their own kind. There were lakes in Louisiana once as clear as emeralds, where fish swam freely, until one day, crawfish swarmed, devouring the protective vegetation, turning the water into murky, oxygen-depleted mudflats, where fish floated belly up, like victims of a silent genocide. Run out of food there, and you think they'll just wait to die? No, they don't wait to die. They walk, leaving the dead lake to find a vibrant one, burrowing deep into the ground, destroying levees, causing water to recede and crops to wither. In Kenya, Lake Naivasha was once a local fisherman's paradise, where plump tilapia filled nets and families thrived on dawn catches. Then the red swamp crawfish arrived, via cargo ships from Asia. They stripped the vegetation, destroyed fish habitats, then used their sharp claws to sever nets, even eating the trapped fish within. Fishermen hauled up their nets to find only torn ropes and a few mangled fish carcasses. The local fishing industry collapsed in just a few seasons, leaving jobless fathers to watch their wives and children starve by a lake that had become a graveyard. In Spain, in the 1960s, a culinary dream turned into a nightmare. They imported stock from Louisiana, tried raising them in wheat fields hoping for a crawfish Madrid dish to conquer dinner tables. But in just a few years, green fields became battlegrounds. Crawfish burrowed under levees, which collapsed when plows rolled over them, draining the water and killing the rice. A farmer named Juan Tiron, eyes red-rimmed under the Mediterranean sun, told an AP reporter in 1991. I don't know where Louisiana is, but I hope the people there come here and take them back. Biologist Popoff, his voice heavy with sadness, concluded, "They devastate everywhere they go. There are no positives." In California, local farmers called them the dam devils because they undermined foundations, destroyed crops, and turned fertile lands into red mud deserts. But this is America, a land of paradoxes, where people don't surrender to disaster, but transform it into a chance for survival. In Louisiana, before dawn can even paint the swamps red, while fog still clings to the reeds like whispers of darkness, aluminum boats already cut through the water. The roar of engines tears through the early morning mist. Waves slap against the hull like a frantic heartbeat. And red mud splashes like battle paint on the aluminum decks. Fishermen, hardened men with hands scarred from crawfish claws and thorny reeds, drop iron traps into the deep, muddy bottom. Each trap is a defiant challenge, an arrow shot into the enemy's heart. When pulled up, hundreds of crimson crawfish pour out like monsters from hell, claws raised as if to counterattack. But it's too late. They're dumped into plastic bins, then thrown into bubbling pots of boiling water with coarse salt, crushed garlic, tongue-scorching chili peppers, and tart yellow lemons. An intoxicating aroma spreads, from Baton Rouge to Lafayette, from the vibrant streets of New Orleans, to distant dining tables in Tokyo, Houston, Beijing. An invasive species, an ecological catastrophe that once brought farmers to tears is now a lifeline, generating $500 million annually, sustaining thousands of families along the bayou. Inside riverfront processing plants, steam obscures everything. Crimson conveyor belts carrying crawfish with curled tails, their shells shimmering like molten metal under infernal heat. Workers, sweat mixing with the oppressive warmth, cut, peel, package, freeze, each motion a pulse of the southern economy. From the red-hued swamps, they embark on container ships, crossing oceans, becoming ingredients for delicate sushi in Japan or spicy shrimp dishes in Mexico. And then the crawfish boil, street parties where tons of crawfish are boiled, where people laugh amidst jazz music, dance in the mud, turning an enemy into a cultural icon. Is there any greater paradox? A species that once destroyed lakes and ponds now feeds an entire region? Or are we, by consuming the invaders, simply deluding ourselves into believing we've conquered nature? But the story doesn't end in Louisiana's red swamps, where crawfish reign like immortal kings. Beneath the Gulf of Mexico, where the water shifts from murky to crystal clear like a fragile promise, another foe lurks. Not to hunt mature, hard-shelled crawfish, but to devour the vulnerable young generation. Tiny crawfish that haven't crawled far. The lionfish, Pterois volitans, with 18 razor-sharp venomous spines that can stop a human heartbeat. Its stunning red, orange, and purple beauty like a living flame dancing on the seafloor. They are masterpieces of the Indian and Pacific Oceans, warm waters where they swim freely among vibrant coral reefs. But in the 1980s, a fierce hurricane in Florida shattered coastal aquariums, or a fed-up owner released them into the ocean. No one knows exactly. Only that from then on, they spread like a curse. Each female lays 2 million eggs annually, transparent egg masses drifting with ocean currents like toxic clouds, colorless but deadly. There are no natural predators here. No fierce sharks, no large fish dare approach those venomous spines, a toxin 15 times stronger than bee venom, enough to paralyze a diver at a depth of 100 feet. They gobble up small fish, tiny shrimp, and the reef's cleaning crew, the silent janitors that keep the ecosystem vibrant. Coral reefs, once underwater rainforests where thousands of species thrived, have become bleached, empty deserts like an oceanic graveyard. The Florida Keys, the Gulf of Mexico, the Bahamas, Cuba, all fell to them in just 3 decades, transforming the ocean into a silent war, where beauty conceals destruction. We brought them here, through pet shipments, through sparkling living room aquariums, and now we pay the price with the collapse of an entire ecosystem. In the Florida Keys, divers, ocean warriors with heavy oxygen tanks strapped to their backs and sharp spear guns in hand, plunge into the cold darkness. No massive nets, no modern submarines, just calloused hands and the daring of fathers and husbands who know each dive is a gamble with death. Flashlight beams sweep across coral crevices where lionfish lurk, their long crown-like fins glowing arrogantly, red, orange, and purple like a deadly invitation. A precise stab, accurate to the millimeter, either victory or a nightmare. Venomous spines pierce rubber gloves, the toxins spreading like wildfire through veins, potentially causing limb paralysis or temporary cardiac arrest. Some have been unconscious for 24 hours after a minor wound, surfacing with labored breaths through their snorkels. Yet they dive again, day after day, because if no one hunts, the coral reefs will die. And with it, the entire tourism economy and the native fish species that have been the livelihood of generations. As the sun sets behind the Gulf of Mexico horizon, painting the sea in mystical red-orange hues, they surface, carrying lionfish carcasses shimmering in the afternoon light, their venomous spines carefully removed like a farewell ritual. On white sandy beaches, chefs in coastal restaurants transform them into masterpieces. Crispy lionfish tacos with spicy lime sauce, refreshing lionfish ceviche drizzled with green chili. The pristine white meat sweet, succulent, and rich like an apology from nature. From cursed destroyer of the seas to a Florida culinary star, priced at $20 a plate, sustaining young chefs and eager tourists. Lionfish derbies turn ecological warfare into bloody competitions and laughter. Divers compete to catch the most, winning the biggest prizes, transforming fear into a game, turning enemies into trophies. Scientists are experimenting with deep-sea robot hunters, pheromone traps as alluring as deadly love calls, and tracking chips implanted in their bodies to map the invasion.
There it is. The tag is active. Looks good. Let's track its movement. Make sure everything is...
Humans are turning war into a profession, disaster into opportunity. 1,000 fish are caught daily, but millions of eggs still hatch in the dark seafloor. So, from Louisiana's red swamps to the blood-stained coral reefs of the Gulf of Mexico, 2 invasive species, 2 battles, $500 million from crawfish, and $2 million from lionfish. The same tragedy. We brought them here, and now we're trying to control them by eating them. Every crawfish pulled from the mud, every fish speared underwater, is a reminder of the fragility of balance. There are days Louisiana fishermen pull up traps, finding fewer crawfish, the water murkier than ever, and they wonder if $500 million is worth it when the swamps are slowly dying. There are days Florida divers plunge deep, finding the coral reefs emptier, native fish gone, and they wonder if delicious tacos can save an ocean crying for help. There are days California farmers repair collapsed levees for the 10th time. Kenyan fishermen inspect torn nets countless times, and ocean lovers everywhere gaze at the horizon asking, are we saving it? Or merely delaying an inevitable collapse? But tragedy always comes with hope, just as darkness needs light to exist. On those days, New Orleans children laugh amidst the crawfish boil, holding spicy red crawfish on sticks, forgetting they were once enemies. Tokyo diners raise glasses to crawfish sushi, the sweetness from distant swamps now blended with fresh ginger. Miami chefs proudly present new lionfish dishes, the white meat from venomous spines now melting on the tongue, a tribute to the daring divers. The ocean doesn't need us to be great heroes with robots and pheromones. It just needs us to stop being destroyers, stop releasing pets into rivers, stop importing species without considering the consequences, stop viewing profit as a reason to continue. Every trap dropped into the red mud, every spear plunged into the deep blue darkness, every plate of spicy crawfish or grilled fish is a choice. A choice between today's prosperity and tomorrow's desolation. A choice between eating the invaders to survive or learning to coexist without destroying. If these stories touch a silent pain within you, the pain of ocean lovers witnessing bleached coral reefs, of farmers seeing levees collapse and crops lost, of audiences eager to discover the ocean's secrets, unaware they are so close and so terrifying, then stay a little longer. No mandatory sign-ups, no noisy notification bells, just a click to continue exploring journeys where humans and nature collide, where knowledge of strange marine creatures becomes a wake-up call for the future. Because somewhere out there, crawfish are still crawling across borders, fish are still hiding in rock crevices, and untold stories remain of survival, of lessons learned from mistakes, of flickering hope amidst tragedy. The ocean is whispering. Can you hear it?